you ever felt?
Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah.
So today I will be reviewing Scientology and the Aftermath Season 2, Episode 7. So you all know I've been watching some of the documentaries of Scientology and the Aftermath. I missed a lot of episodes, so I came in late in the season and I only seen 3. And the 3 seasons I seen were the celebrities and David Miscavige's story, and now I finally get to see everyday people's stories, because that's what I always wanted to hear. I wanted to hear from the commoner. Well, not only did I get to hear from the commoner, but I got to hear the true victim's story, which are the children. Okay, so it's one thing to be an adult and choose this lifestyle for yourself. It's another thing just to have it thrown on you and innocently being born into this madness. So the only thing that's different with my review this time is all the other episodes, I wasn't for sure if Scientology was a cult. You know, I was new to this whole thing, and so I was keeping an open mind, but now I definitely believe it's a cult. Anything that does your thinking for you or encourage you not to think for yourself, just mindlessly follow a bunch of rules and you don't know why, is a cult. It's just a cult. And so my review is going to be a little different today, because now I know Scientology is about a bunch of head games. I mean, that's just what it is. Let's just be serious. It's a bunch of head games. But the saddest victims are the children. Okay, so there was this guy named Nathan Rich and a girl named Tara that told their stories this time. So let's start with Nathan. Told his story first. Now Nathan was born into this madness. He was just born into it, and ever since he was little, he wasn't really into the Scientology religion on his own. You know, some children, they just don't feel it. It's a bunch of mindless rules, and you say this and don't ask why. If you say why, because I told you to. And so some people, everybody has different personalities. Some people could be born in this and follow every single rule and not wonder why. You just, because. That's your answer. Why? Mom, because, and you accept it. Some people like Nathan are not. They're called free spirits. That's what they're called. Free spirits are people that are born with their own personalities, and they're kind of headstrong from birth. It's nothing anyone did to make them headstrong. That's just how they are. This is poor little Nathan. So he wasn't really into Scientology, even though he was born into it. And this frustrated his mother. She wanted him to be the perfect Scientologist. And when he didn't, you know, conform to her rules of what a Scientologist child is supposed to be, she sent him to this school. It's like a Scientology school. It's in Palmdale, California. Now, we all know I'm from Southern California, so Palmdale is the hot part of California, you know, away from the beach, more inland, and it's kind of rural. So she sent him to this ranch, and it's supposed to be a school, but Nathan didn't describe it as a school. He described it more as like a concentration camp. I mean, just a little bit. So this concentration camp, I mean school. In my head, I'm calling it a concentration camp. A concentration camp in my head is a place that you just do mindless labor. Like, you just work. Like, I see that ditch over there, I want you to go dig a ditch. And then you go six feet deep, and you dig the ditch, and then they come back and go, okay, now fill it back up. Mindless work all day long. This is what Scientologists do. They want to divide families, okay? Anything that divides a family automatically gets my adrenaline going. But you know, some people don't understand that. You know, cults only work, and I don't mean to be mean, okay? Like, this is my feeling, okay? No one get offended. But cults are made for weak people. And if you're strong, they're going to break you to make you weak and tell you, submit. That's it. In order for the cult to work, they have to have a bunch of submissive people. A bunch of people that just do whatever they're told and never ask why. Now, see, there's a lot of layers to the Scientology things. You know, you got the celebrities who are treated like gold, you know, because of their money and fame. And then you have, you know, the power players like David. They're all about power, you know, Miscavige. Power, 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 that's all he's about. And then you have people that are searching for something, you know, I just want to be a part of something special, something good. And then you have people that are thrown into this. These are the children. It's like a bunch of moving parts here. Like, it's not easy to really diagnose the Scientologist religion because it's not one rule for all. It's a bunch of moving parts, and all of them are equally, you know, I don't want to say crazy because I don't want to be me, you know, but how does the word like psycho sound? Like, it's just a bunch of psycho moving parts, like just a bunch of pieces. It's no one thing that's wrong with this religion. It's a whole bunch of moving parts that's going on and on and on. So with this school is designed, in my opinion, and that's all that counts right now because I'm the only one doing the review, to break children, to really break them. They make them study all the time, their levels of Scientology. They make them do a lot of mindless labor. And one thing I noticed that was missing out of this school, okay, I'm going to call it by his name, was love. Lots of love. Every child on the planet in your beginning years, no, for your whole life, they need love and support and someone to tell them you are special. Okay, that's a parent's job. You could have the baddest kid on the planet, but your job as the parent is to tell them that kid is special. You're supposed to bring out the best in that child, but not these cults. They do the opposite. They make you feel like everything's your fault and you're born bad and you got to get this badness out of you. And the only way to get it out of you is through Scientology. So that's what they teach you. That's a bad thing to do to a child, because when that tape stops running in their head, it continues after they get older because that's all they heard during their rearing years. So that's what happened to Nathan. He supposedly, his mom sent him to this school because he wasn't following the Scientology rules. So he gets to the camp and it was supposed to be until you get better. So he went the first time and they just made him do a bunch of work. If he didn't do what he was supposed to do, there was like beatings, I mean, I don't believe in hitting a child, but I guess, the Scientologist thing, that's another way of breaking you down. They made him, he said he was a dirty child, and they made him take a shower in front of everyone and use this metal thing to scrub him down. Just all kinds of form of, in my opinion, mental torture. But most important is the devaluing of the person. They want you to feel that you're bad, and and if unless you're a Scientologist, you're not even worth living on this planet. This is really messing with someone's psyche. So he went the first time to the camp in Southern California in Palmdale. He went home. I guess it wasn't good enough. They sent him back to the one in New Mexico. When he gets to this school in New Mexico, I keep wanting to call it a concentration camp. I mean, in my mind, a concentration camp is a place of horror that you can't escape. So, I don't mean to be so extreme. I'm going to try to call it a school, but if I say concentration camp, no, I just slipped. So, when he gets to New Mexico, there is this girl named Tara there. And Tara was also born into the religion. And her parents sent her to this school, supposedly, until she straightened up her act. Now, she was just a curious kid. Children are playful and curious, and and not all of them are going to be angels that sit on the couch and do whatever you say. This is Tara. I like to say Tara was born with a lot of spirit and gutsiness, but her parents didn't look at it that way. They looked at it as disobedient, and to the school you go. Okay, so she's at this school, and this is where she meets David. I don't know why they call this a school. It's more like a prison. It's more like a prison. So they separated the boys from the girls. She said the girls were up top, the guys were below. Still lots and lots of work. Lots of work. Lots of, if you got in trouble, severe punishments. Okay? Just crazy severe punishments. But most of all, that same tearing you down mentally. I mean, that's the worst part of Scientology to me, is that to be an adult, to choose to throw your life away and just follow some rules that don't make any sense is one thing. You're an adult. That's your choice. But to break a child's spirit, and this child has no choice. These are the beginning stages of their life. This is when they count on their parents for everything. This is when they need love for everything. Scientology has absolutely no love in these schools. Like, none at all. I mean, if it was a real school, it would be focused on bringing families together and solving problems together while you're building up a person's self-esteem. Not humiliating them and, you know, tearing them down every chance you get. And with these classes, you know, it was like really hard to pass these classes. It was just a lot of mind games on a child. I almost think the mind games, now I don't mean to be disrespectful to anybody that went to the schools, but the mind games are like more psychologically damaging than these crazy beatings. Or they had like these makeshift jails. They built like these isolation houses, and if you got in trouble, that's where you went. They made you build your own prison and then, okay, go live in the prison. It was crazy. You know, she said that kids did kid things, you know, sometimes they would mess around sexually. If you got caught, you were in trouble, you know, go build your own prison and then go in there for a while. It was just crazy. And they didn't like it. One time they planned to run away. The plan was to start this is how bad these kids wanted to get out of here. I feel so bad. You know, most children childhood is sometimes supposed to be the most special time in your life. This is supposed to be when your dad takes you fishing and your mom, you know, I don't know, bakes cookies with you and you don't have a care in the world, you don't have any bills. You know, this is supposed to be the funnest time of your life. But these children were really, I don't want to be mean, but they were like, you know, just tortured. I mean, I know that sounds a little rough, but that's my opinion on it. I really feel these children were tortured. So much so that they wanted to run away. Okay, the plan was to start a fire, a forest fire, and then two of the kids were supposed to run down and steal some cars and then pick the other two up. Well, the school had took some parts off of the car so it wouldn't start. Okay, that sounds like a, you know, like a prison to me. And they end up getting caught. They send dogs out to look for them, and they were on ATV bikes. This is insane. This is insane. I mean, I'm surprised that Nathan and Tara were able to tell their story, because one, when you tell a story, you relive the events. And sometimes I couldn't even listen to the story. It was that bad. And then two, you know, these crazy Scientologists, they're going to dispute whatever you say. Because that's just how they are. They're all about appearances on the outside. They want to appear to be a good organization, but really they're everything but a good organization. So let me tell you what happened after this forest fire. Tara says that they give you all these tests that you're supposed to pass, and then after so many tests, you're supposed to be allowed to leave. But her test just kept getting pushed back, pushed back, pushed back. I believe she said she was supposed to be there 3 months. It ended up going into years. Years, she said. And so she always felt like there was no hope, like no getting out of this. It just kept going. And she ended up going home, but her parents were still into the Scientology thing. And, you know, it was just, you know, I applaud her for telling her story, but this has to be the worst story ever, is the children. More than the crazy celebrity Scientologists that choose that lifestyle, who don't get treated like this, by the way. They don't get treated like this. But the children that are stuck in this, it's very heartbreaking. Nathan said that after, when he turned 18, they started getting nicer to him and nicer and easier to pass his test because they wanted him to say good things about it. But he ended up not going back home. You know, he ended up being homeless, and he never had that family structure that every kid wants and needs. Like, if you don't have a father or a mother to fill that void in your life, it has to be somebody, or you're going to struggle like he did. So he said that after a while, after 7 years of being homeless and just being on drugs and trying to find his way, he ended up trying to go back to school. He called his parents and asked his mother, can she sign the paperwork for him to go to school? She said no. She didn't want any parts of it because she thought he wasn't a good Scientologist. This has to be the most heartbreaking story I've heard yet. I mean, absolutely no support. I'm surprised and proud that he told his story and that he wasn't cuckoo somewhere. You know, I mean, it's just absolutely unheard of. I mean, I just felt really bad. I'm sure they're not the only people with these stories. I mean, they just break my heart, you know. I mean, and until I start really watching these documentary series and episodes, you hear Scientology's a cult, but you don't think anything of it because it doesn't touch your life. Well, for me, it didn't touch my life. But now I know this is a horrible religion. I don't know if it started out that way and went bad, or it just was bad from the very beginning, but these people are nuts. They are nuts. But the biggest victim in all of this is the children. I mean, the stories I heard about the adults, you know, getting hit by David Miscavige and all this stuff is bad, but it's 10 times worse when you are a child. So this has to be one of the most eye-opening episodes I've seen, the most heartfelt episodes I've seen so far. I don't know if there's stories out there worse, but this is my first real people, you know, not a celebrity, not someone with, you know, high rank, just a true blue victim. And that is the children. I mean, I really applaud Tara and Nathan for even telling their stories and getting it out there, because if people don't know, like I never knew, then it's just going to continue to happen. Now, of course, they said that they denied, the Scientology church denied that these things happened and said that those schools are no longer open, and Mike Render said yes, they are open. So, you know, it feels like Scientology, the church, isn't against lying either. Once their dirty deeds get out in public, you know, they'll just lie about it. It's really, really sad. And, you know, I just hope this happens to no one else, or that this isn't going on right now. Oh my God, because I'm very sensitive. As we speak, I hope no child is suffering right now as we're discussing these documentaries. And, you know, it's just sad. But David and mother end up passing, Nathan's mother ended up passing away, and he never got to have that mother and son relationship with her that he always wanted. It's very heartbreaking, but at the same time, I'm very proud of Nathan and Tara for telling their stories. And believe it, and I know they probably don't understand this now, but the more you tell your story, the more you're helping a helpless victim. Someone is going to come across these tapes one day and feel like, well, if they can do it, so can I. I mean, even if it's years from now, you know, that's the thing about documentaries and putting things on film, is that it has a way of resurfacing and getting into different hands. And so, you know, that was a very sad, this was a sad episode for me, yet empowering, because I'm thankful that Tara and Nathan made it through it. Tara said some things still affect her to this day, and she still suffers from PTSD. That's going to happen. But at the end of the day, she's still a winner. She overcame it. And it's not easy. Tara overcame it, and so did Nathan. It's not easy to retell these stories, relive your horrors of what really happened, but it's the only way to get to healing for themselves, and then hopefully reach out to others that are in the same situation, or just enlighten people such as myself that, you know, really knew anything about this cult. I'm calling it a cult anymore. All seriousness, it's, in my opinion, from the bottom of my heart, I truly believe this is a cult. Anything that tells you how to think, how to act, and monitor what you do, that's a cult. That's a cult. Like, I know a lot of Christian churches that don't have all of these rules that basically says I can't think for myself. It's kind of crazy. So, you know, but I love documentaries because, as I said before, documentaries take me to a world I would never go in on my own. Like, I would never be, you know, a part of this church. And now that I'm watching it, I will never want to be a part of this church. It's just really crazy and enlightening. So I'm going to keep reviewing these so I can get all of these people's stories out. I mean, you never know who might come across this review. So it was very good. Again, I say it over and over again. So we all know that Leah Remini has won Emmys, and I think it was other kind of awards for her work, but she really, really deserves it. And she's saying that she's working on something special that she can't talk about through the court system. I mean, she's a true advocate for anyone that feels stuck or is completely brainwashed and wants a way out. And I have to praise her for that. You know, she just didn't leave the church with her own opinion and just saved herself. She went back to help others, her and Mike Render, and for that, you've got to give them their respect. So I'll be back next week. Thanks for watching. Until next time, talk to you then. Bye.